Remember, this week we are learning about text features. We're talking about how different features of a text can help us better understand what we are reading. One of the text features that we've learned about is the title. The title helps us understand what we are going to be reading about, what the whole story is about. So our title today is How Plants Live in a Desert. It tells us that we are going to be reading about plants and how they live in a desert. We also know, and I'd love for you to write these along with me as I type them. We know that the sidebar right here gives us more information about what we are reading about. So this sidebar is going to tell us some more fun facts that's related to our topic. Another text feature we've talked about are headings. Remember, a heading is like a mini title. There are different headings inside of a story to kind of break up the story and to tell us what that section's going to be about. So here we have 3 headings that tell us about what each of those sections focuses on. So the whole thing is about how plants live in a desert, but each of these headings will have a section that'll give us some more specific information. And finally, our last text feature today are keywords. Keywords help us understand which words are really important for us to understand. So some of these keywords that we'll be reading about today are evaporate and mesquite. Those are words that the author wants us to pay extra close attention to because it'll help us understand more about what we are reading. So I'll give you a minute to make sure you've got these typed. I apologize if I go off mute sometimes or have to pause for a second. I am watching my kids today and teaching. No babysitter 2 days in a row. So we are going to make it through, but it might be a little bumpy along the way. I've tried to bribe them well today, though, so hopefully they will not revolt. Fingers crossed. It's the goal. All right, so now I'm going to read this story to you, and we are going to be thinking about how do these text features help us understand what we're reading. How Plants Live in a Desert by Rafael Sanchez. A desert gets less than 10 inches of rain per year. It can get as hot as 100 degrees in the summer. Yet at night, it can be quite cold. It's not easy to live in a desert, but some plants do. And now we're at our first heading, plants that store water. So this paragraph is going to tell us about how plants survive in the desert by storing water. Many cactuses have a waxy coating. The wax helps stop water from evaporating or escaping through tiny holes in the plant. Remember, we learned that word evaporating when we read about the water cycle. Remember a couple of lessons back, we read that story about how water evaporates, turns into a gas, it condensates into a cloud, and then it rains as precipitation, and then it gathers again and starts all over. So we've learned this word evaporating before in Ready Reading. But the authors made it a key word so that we understand that it's a very important part of what we're reading. So it stops the water from evaporating or escaping through tiny holes in the plant. Cactuses are good at storing water. When it rains, a cactus stores water to live on during dry periods. For more information on cactus plants, research the topic. Our next heading, plants with long roots. So this paragraph is going to tell us how plants with long roots survive in the desert. A second type of desert plant grows very long roots. One example is the mesquite tree. The roots of the mesquite find water deep in the ground. Some mesquites have roots that are 80 feet long. And our last heading says plants with hardy seeds. This word hardy means that they can survive a lot of things. They're really tough. So some plants that you might grow, you have to be really careful with, right? You can't give it too much water or too much sun or the plants will die. Well, these seeds are very hardy. That means that they don't die easily. They're really strong. A third type of plant grows only in the spring, following the winter rains. It grows quickly. Soon it drops seeds. These seeds can live for a long time. If the following spring is wet, the seeds will grow. If not, the seeds may wait 2 or 3 springs to grow. So these seeds will stay in the ground and they might grow that year. But if they know that there's not enough water to grow, then they'll just kind of hang out and they'll wait for the next year. And then we have our sidebar. We read our sidebar last because it gives us more related information. To help us, excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold. To help us better understand the article, it gives us more information. It says deserts around the globe. There are many deserts around the world. The Sahara Desert is in Africa. The Gobi Desert is in Asia. The Great Basin and Mojave Deserts stretch across the American Southwest. I heard the doorbell. If you're just joining us, please go ahead and type your name in the chat. That way I know to get you for attendance. All right. So those are 3 different places where we might find deserts. Our close reader habit says circle each of the main headings in the article. How are they similar? So I'm going to highlight our headings. We have plants that store water, plants with long roots, and plants with hardy seeds. So how are they similar? Well, they all start with the word plants. Oh, Devin, I hope I'm not frozen anymore. I hope it's working okay. So they all start with the word plants. So we know they're all talking about plants in the desert. The first one tells us how plants survive by storing water. The next heading tells us how they survive if they have long roots. The last one tells us that they survive if they have hardy seeds. So all 3 of these headings tell me how plants survive in the desert. That's what they all have in common. So now we're going to go to page 2. Charlotte, shh, be a good girl. So on page 2, it says, authors often use headings to organize the information in a piece of writing. You can use those headings to figure out key ideas. So Charlotte, so remember when we were talking about main idea and key details? Each of these heading is a key detail or a key idea. Hi, Jorge. I'm happy you're here. So each of these, oh, hi, Carlos, are a key detail. So each of those headings, that's why they have them separated there. They're really important. So question 1, which text feature would help you find more facts about how seeds can help plants survive in the desert? Now this one's kind of tricky because when we think more facts, we usually think about the sidebar, but we have to make sure that whichever answer we choose talks about how seeds help plants survive. So I'm going to read these 4 choices to you, and I would like for you to type in a private message to me. If you click where you type to everyone, click everyone, and instead click Marissa Mannering. It'll send me a direct message. And I want you to type your answer, A, B, C, or D. A says the picture of the mesquite tree. B, the sidebar, deserts around the globe. C, the keyword evaporating in paragraph 2. D, the heading plants with hardy seeds. Which one gives me more facts about how seeds help plants survive? JL and Jocelyn, not quite. AJ, Evan, Elijah, very good. Go and type A, B, C, or D. Oh, Jocelyn, try turning off. Oh, your camera is already off. I was about to say, usually turning off your camera will fix it. Or maybe try moving to a different room in your house that might be closer to your internet. Oh, perfect. Good. I'm glad it's better. Alani, not quite. Leilani, not quite. Sam, yes. Good job. So think about which one talks about seeds. This is an important word. So we're going to start by eliminating some that don't fit. The picture of the mesquite tree. If I just have a picture, that's not giving me more facts. It's just a picture. It's a very nice picture, but it doesn't give me more facts. And the keyword evaporating, that tells me how water leaves the plant. It does not talk about seeds anywhere near the word evaporating. So that leaves us with B and D. Those are the 2 that it could be. Now think about which one gives us more facts about seeds and how seeds help plants survive. That's the really key word here to help us make that choice. JL, Eli, very good. Devin, good job. Remember, I need everybody to respond at least once, please. That way I can make sure that you are here and listening. Charlotte, shh. Little Missy woke up too early today. She's going to be cranky. Jaslyn, good job. Leilani, yes. So the answer is D. The heading plants with hardy seeds, because that word seeds tells us about how seeds survive. So that's going to help us find more facts about the seeds. Very good. All right, question 2. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to read you the question, and you're going to type your answer in the chat to me. Why do authors include keywords in a text? Think about more than just this article. Think about when we read about polar bears. Our keywords were guard hairs and absorb, right? And those were the keywords to help us understand how the polar bears have guard hairs to protect them from the cold. They have black noses and black skin to absorb the heat to protect them from the cold. So they were really important. In this article, our keywords were mesquite and evaporates. So do they show which words are hard to say? Do they use them as headings within the article? Do they help readers spot important words? Or do they call attention to the sidebar? Go ahead and type A, B, C, or D in a chat to me. Elijah, JL, very good. Alani, not quite. Sam, good. Jaslyn, not quite. Look at all your choices here. AJ and Alani, not quite. So it's not the headings, you guys. The headings are bolded, but those aren't our key words. When I look in our text, our key words were inside the paragraph. If you're just joining us, please type your name in the chat. So which one tells us why they include keywords? AJ, good. Kari, very good. Actually, oops. Sorry, I think I misspoke. Kari and AJ, not quite. They weren't in the sidebar. Those keywords were not in the sidebar. Alani, Evan, very good. So the answer, Jocelyn, yep, is C. They help us spot important words. We talked about how the word mesquite is important because it tells us about that plant that we see that grows there. The word evaporates was important because it tells us how the water leaves the plants. In our story about polar bears, the guard hairs told us about how the guard hairs were important to the polar bear's survival, and absorbs tells us how they absorb the sunlight, and that was important to their survival as well. Josiah, thanks for being here. We are on Ready Reading Lesson 10. All right. So now I'm going to scoot on down to question 3. Now it says talk, but we are going to write our response. In what places around the world might you find some plants you read about? Which text feature gave you this information? So I'm going to go back to my story and look at my text features. The title is a text feature. The keywords, evaporating and mesquite. The headings, plants that store water, plants with long roots, plants with hardy seeds, and the sidebar, deserts around the globe. Which one of these tells me about where I might find some of these plants? Charlotte, no. Which one tells me where I might find some of the plants? Which text feature tells me that? Charlotte, turn off your iPad if you're not going to watch it, please. It's noisy. Elijah, absolutely. Good job. The sidebar. You are correct. It says around the globe, and it tells us 3 different places. Will you tell me, go ahead and type in the chat, what 3 places in the world might I find some deserts with some of these desert plants? What 3 countries or continents might I find them? Shh. They're the ones we highlighted. Alani, Asia, absolutely. That is one of them. I might find them in Asia in the Gobi Desert. Elijah, Africa, absolutely. I might find them in the Sahara. There's one more. Evan, very good. Yep. And Jocelyn, awesome. Alani, America, yes. Great job, you guys. These are the 3, and not the only 3, right? There are deserts in other places as well. But these are 3 places where I might find some of these deserts. So on question 3, I'm going to say you, might find some of these plants in Africa, America, and Asia. Don't worry, I'm going to fix it up for you guys. We found this information in the sidebar. Here, we'll just say we found this in the sidebar. Here you go. I'm going to zoom in a little more so you can see it bigger, hopefully. Charlotte Rose, please. That's a trash can. Oh my goodness. So those are the 3 places that it said in the sidebar where we might find some of these plants, because we'd find them in these deserts. Shh. Once you're done writing this, go ahead and start thinking about the short response here. We're going to do this one together, but go ahead and start thinking about what it's asking us to do. Can you zoom in? This is as much as it will let me zoom in, AJ. I'm sorry.
So when we're done, we just type done?
You can, or you can just sit tight. I'm going to leave this up for another minute and then we'll do our short response. This is also recording, so it'll be on YouTube later. Don't worry, it leaves out your names. So that way you can watch it later if you need to. You can pause it. If you need to take a screenshot right now, you can. Lots of different ways to get the information done. Charlotte, please sit down.
Wait, how do you take
a screenshot?
Yeah.
Good question. Press the control button. It's on the bottom left-hand corner of your keyboard. Hold that down as you press the button that's above your 6 button. It's the one that looks like a rectangle with some lines after it. It's right above the 6. If you press those 2 buttons at the same time, it will take a picture of your screen for you. Go ahead and press the raise hand button if you need more time. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that everybody is good to go. All right, Sam Leilani, thank you so much. Whenever you're done, go ahead and just press the lower hand button. That way I know you're ready to move on. Awesome. Looks like we're ready to move on. So let's look at our short response. Leilani, are you good to go? Yes. Okay. Alrighty. So our short response: plants have 3 main ways of surviving in the desert. Tell what they are and how the author uses text features to call attention to them. Here's our hint. Think about the 3 ways plants survive. Where do you see those ways listed in the article? So when I look back at my article, where does it list those 3 ways that plants survive? Does it tell me in the title? Does it tell me in the sidebar? The keywords, there's only 2 of them, so that wouldn't work. Or is it the heading? What do you guys think?
The heading.
The heading, yes, JL, absolutely. Elijah, I saw that in the chat too. Perfect. Yes, the headings. Plants that store water tells us that they survive by storing water. Plants with long roots tells me they survive by having those really long roots to reach the water under the ground. Plants with hardy seeds tell me that some plants have these seeds that are very hardy, that are really tough, so they can survive for a long time without some water. And it told us all of those in the heading. So we are going to write the headings tell us how plants survive in the desert. Oh, Devin, the one on the second page that we skipped is actually the extended response. It's the same one we're doing right now. Thank you for catching that. Plants in the desert survive by storing water, having long roots, and having hardy seeds. I'm going to leave this up as long as you need it so that you can get it typed down. This is our last part for the day, and I have to give you guys a round of applause. Oh my goodness. Out of all of my groups, y'all, all of them, I think you guys were the ones that participated the most in the chat, that answered the questions, and I could see you guys trying really hard. Most of you have your cameras on, which is fantastic. And I just want to say thank you so much for always doing your very best. And you guys are the ones that got through this the quickest without a bunch of derailments. So good work, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording.